every now and then when we talk on Discord, not this, like chatting wise,
Yeah.
about like our plans for the future and what we want to do. It's the little thing like that when we're just texting and chatting that really, I don't know, just gets me hyped and just makes me think like, I just want to watch every single horror film right now. I want to learn things about this horror film. I think that's what I like about this and what I want people that listen to this to come away from thinking that like, oh, this isn't some heavily overproduced studio corporate sort of podcast. This is shooting the shit, talking about a love for horror that people listening can then go away and go, I want to watch this. I want to go find out about this.
That's it. Just a couple of horror nerds shooting the breeze.
More like crazy horror nerds.
I mean, it's crazy,
kooky, crazy.
But that was always the point, wasn't it? When we spoke about it before, and even before I got on board and we were talking about it, it was always meant to be casual and fun.
Just I
mean, neither of us are like, horror. Well, not necessarily horror, but neither of us are like film journalists or scholars in any sort of real regard. I
haven't got the time to be.
No. So it's not professional analysis.
No.
It comes from being a fan. And
personal opinions.
Yeah, of course it is. Personal opinions and fandom and, the stuff that you like that I don't and vice versa.
And the love for horror in general.
And I love for horror in general.
Yes.
Sort of all mediums and but yeah, that's right. And I agree that you'll be talking about stuff and I think, let's go watch some. Let's go find a film to watch.
Just
and then
builds up inside and you're like, I want to do something horror related. Yeah. I mean, hell, if we start to make bang on this in the future, then cool. I'm happy to do this for a living.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
But I mean, bank. Yeah. This episode 69. That was it.
There we go.
There it is. Because I
the
doubled
segue.
up. Well, it wasn't really a segue, was it?
No. I could see your little mind.
It was the monkey was. The monkey was.
Yeah.
Just...
He's thinking, how can I launch into
this? Yeah. There wasn't really anything to launch into it, really, but there is a way I want to launch into today's episode. But yes, episode 69. I had to double up last week's episode because there was so much content from our 2023 wrap up. So that is a two-parter, yes. But welcome back to the Dreadcast, episode 69. I am Tom. This is the lovely Aiden.
Hello.
And I lost track of what I was saying.
Horror movies.
We love them. We love them all.
In particular, one particular horror movie that we'll be looking at this week. It's continuation of our series on
Monsters at Universal.
Universal Monsters, yes.
Yes, this will be, in theory, this is part 5 or 6 of what how many have we done so far?
I can't remember.
Dracula?
We did Dracula, Frankenstein,
yeah,
The Mummy, The Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh,
and yes,
Invisible Man.
Oh, Invisible Man. So yes, this is 6.
This is part 6
of is part 6.
An 8-part
Yeah, we have 2 more
series,
to go after this.
Which will be, in order, I believe, Phantom of the Opera and Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of which, where is he?
He's right here.
So, folks, last week, Aiden revealed a forgotten purchase. That was a lovely surprise, accent of surprise, of this little bust of a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, I've also got his little glow in the dark.
We're not going to do the glow in the dark experiment again. It didn't
no,
work.
We're not.
It didn't work.
I'm not. Yeah, he does glow. He does actually glow in the dark.
To the audio listeners, he's put it up to his eyes and he can see it glow in the dark.
He's forgotten, but yeah, it was a forgotten little Temu purchase, and he's great, and I love him. I still need to hang him up, but he's going to go above the door. I think it's a little on the outside.
He's not going in the bathroom.
I did broach the subject of him going into the bathroom, and
you were not allowed.
Was not too keen on the idea. So.
You were told no.
So she's moving out, and then
so it's the only logical. It's the only logical reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the only way around it, really.
So yeah, episode 6 of our Universal Monster series.
Yes,
and it's the Wolfman. Look, got a
I
figure of the
forgot
Wolfman
you
as
had
well.
that. Yes,
I'm a Wolfman.
Arr.
My name is Larry.
And I'm a fucking rapist, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
Before we get into today's installment of the podcast, horror podcast you were listening to, which is called, I believe, the Dreadcast.
That's what
do go check out the last couple. Oh my god! I've just realised. Oh, we're so professional. The last episode wasn't the 2023 wrap up.
No, it wasn't.
It was the Advent calendar.
I was just letting it slide. It wasn't. Our last episode was Advent.
Oh, we're back, baby. Last week's episode, which is by the time this episode comes out, it would have been last week's, is a French horror film from 2021 called The Advent Calendar, or La Calendrier. I probably butchered that, so I apologise. You can go check that out on the podcast channels, YouTube, by searching The Dreadcast, and Spotify, Apple, Google, Podbean, and Amazon. Again, all by searching The Dreadcast. Neither here nor there film, but do go check out what we think about it, and maybe just go check it out. Go check it out, and go check out our 2023 wrap-up episodes as well that were before that.
Yes.
Prior, 1 week before. And also, you can check everything to do with the podcast in the social medias world of Instagram, Twitter /X, and TikTok, _Dreadcast. And there's a reason why I'm doing the social medias first.
Yeah.
You can send us an email to
thedreadcastpodcast@gmail.com.
And it might be read out just like this one here.
We've got mail.
We have, but it's not. It's from friend of the show, Dean.
Okay, that's all.
Friend of the show, Dean. And no, folks, before you ask, we haven't just asked people that we know to. Can you just send? Just send it in, and we'll pretend that it's.
I mean, we ask everybody.
We do ask
a message,
yeah,
whether they do or not. This is not paid.
No,
paid for
no
advertisement.
Good day, chaps. Just checking show notes on your roundup of top 10 films. Do you think you could do us a favour? And when talking about films or writing notes, will you say how and where you saw the film?
Oh, okay.
If it's on conventional sites like Amazon, Netflix, and Disney, etc., maybe sometimes you use a dodgy download. Never.
No.
How would you even insinuate that?
All legitimate and above board.
I don't agree with these allegations.
I don't even know where to
look. I buy all my physical media. I buy everything.
Films from illegally.
Does LimeWire still exist?
I don't know.
I mean, I've heard people used to use it. That and Kazaa. But I'm sure you would never advocate of that behaviour. No. We don't here at the Dreadcast. No, we don't. Not here at the Dreadcast headquarters. 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Satellite office.
Aidan has the North branch of the
North office.
Yes.
In the Southern office.
Good work and good luck in 2024, Dean. Thank you for the mail, Dean.
Yes, thank you very much.
And that is a really good point you brought across. And I mean, yeah, that is something we don't do, like where we've watched the films or seen the films.
No, not often.
I
think I have mentioned it once, twice, or I've said so it's on Amazon or whatever. But yeah, it's not as a general rule. No, it's not something that we sort of definitely do. But it's a good idea, and we perhaps should, because yeah, it's all well and good saying go and watch it, but
where?
But where?
Because I think especially as well, that's a good point for today's film. Because I don't believe today's film is on, say, Shudder or Prime, unless you have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it on Prime. It is available. I think it's £2.50 rental.
Yeah, so then if I say it's on Prime or Shudder, I think that needs to now come across as assuming you have a subscription, because most films are on Amazon Prime. You can buy them, but if you if it's on it, it means you've probably got it. But this film and a few others that we've had to source is on Internet Archive. Great little website.
Okay, right. The Internet Archive. I love the Internet Archive.
Which is just archive.org. And you can find anything there. Because near enough anything.
To read from the site itself, Internet Archive is a non-profit library of millions of free books, movies, software, music, websites, and more. So it's a little bit like Wikipedia for the internet.
Yeah.
In that it works the same way. It's all free, but you can donate if you want to. And again, this is not we're not being paid to advertise this. This is just letting you know that a resource out there for things. And it's, I guess the idea is to preserve like old media. So there's like old news footage on there and stuff like that. But we found through doing the pod that it's a pretty good source for some older, harder to find movies, horror movies. I think I watched what's it called? The Stephen King Maximum Overdrive. I think I watched Maximum Overdrive on here. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But also some of the older ones. I think the newest. I did a search by year the other day, just randomly having a look, and I think there are some movies as recent as 2019. Oh wow! Not necessarily horror. I didn't look into specifics of what they were, but there are primarily. I think I'd say it's older stuff like 70s sort of and earlier. Yeah.
But it's certainly a good place for this series that if you've been following since when did we start this series now? Let's have a look.
A while ago.
Granted, we've probably missed a couple of months doing them. 7 months ago.
Yeah. That checks out. But I mean, yeah, there's some old stuff, so I'm just looking through now. So White Zombie's on there.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
The Phantom of the Opera from 1925. So that's the one that Lon Chaney Senior. Plays,
wow, what a link!
plays the Phantom in, which I'm a little bit disappointed that that's not the one that we'll be doing because it's not the one in our collection.
Note it down, and we'll get to it.
Because I think Lon Chaney's Phantom is quite an iconic monster.
Well, why don't we do it alongside the other one? Compare.
Oh, we could. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm happy to do it because these films aren't that long.
They're not that long, no.
Which is nice. So,
does it give me a time on there? It doesn't actually give me a time on there. But yeah, it's gonna be a shorter one, I would have thought. So what else is on there? Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Naked Massacre, Bloody Pit of Horror, King of the Zombies, lots of old black and white.
Yeah.
Horror, Night of the Living Dead's on there, sci-fi.
It's weird as well. Like it's weird how it feels. It's kind of just there for you to watch without any monthly subscription or having to rent them. Like it's just there. You can go watch these classic films right there. Yeah.
So there we go. So that's something. That's one little source. And yeah, I say this has been a good resource for some of the older, harder to find things. Driller Killers on there.
1925 Phantom of the Opera is an hour and 33.
Oh wow! Is that longer than the 41 version that we'll be watching?
I'm gonna look right now. Phantom of the Opera.
Because that's Claude Rains in that one, isn't it? I think
so many
Invisible Man,
who is also in today's film.
Yeah. So have we said what today's film is?
You did indeed, along with your little
with my little creature.
Figure. Yeah, why don't you say it again in case people have just joined us?
It is Universal Studios 1941, The Wolfman. Roar.
If you couldn't tell by the figure there.
I know you really can't. It's not. I mean,
put your hand behind it. It will focus.
No, it won't.
It did not focus.
It's Lon Chaney Jr. in the titular role, but also Claude Rains, and I think there's a couple of other sort of Universal.
You saying a couple of other is something I want to get into because I've got just that phrase of you in that context of you saying there's a couple of other people. I need to talk about that.
Okay.
1943 Phantom of the Opera is an hour and 32. So they're about to say, this seems to be one of the longest ones we may have done, because this film is just under 70 minutes. 69 minutes, I believe. So yeah, thank you for that, Dean, because that is actually helpful and helpful for the audience, for us to be more informative of where we've seen these films. Do you remember where Advent Calendar did?
Advent Calendar was Amazon.
Was Shudder?
Right, that was Shudder. Yes, that was Shudder. Yeah. So
if you'd like to go check out Advent Calendar, which was our last episode here on the Dreadcast, and you have a Shudder account, £5 a month. It's probably the only subscription service that I kind of really use these days. Maybe Netflix. Go check it out. It's over there. So yeah. And yeah, today's film, the Wolfman. Sorry, I mean the Rape Man. Sorry. I mean sexual assault is okay. The Wolfman.
The sexual assault man.
Spying on women man. God, I'm always getting this wrong. The Wolfman. There we go.
Wolfman. I mean, it was full moon last week. Thursday, I believe was
you're
full
right.
Moon.
Wow, good timing.
Yeah.
Very good timing. Before we do get into it, I don't think we need to. The Raven, the horror tombola, whatever we call it, the Raven-sized coffin box is still here. That series we've mentioned the last couple of episodes will not be starting for another month or so, because we're going to be finishing the Monsters of Universal. This is what it will be replacing. We have a few more ideas in the pipeline, a few more fun ideas. They are being worked on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them come to fruition if we can get them going. So, not so much cheesy New Year, New Us, but we've got a lot of good things coming, I think. A lot of revamps, a lot of upgrades, a lot of new things in the pipeline.
Yeah, the new year is just
it's
just incidental, really. It's coincidence. It's things that we wanted to change up and revamp and rehash anyway, I think. So yeah, and there's no real sort of set time frame for this. It'll just sort of drop in and evolve as we go, I think is the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. So the Raven-sized coffin with all the categories. We've got more to go in there from your lovely self. I've got to get them done, put them on there for our next pick. I am still going with my pick of Nightmare Sisters, but I'm going to have a little look around, because I think I mentioned last time that I was given the backhanded information. Yeah? Hush. Japanese horror can be quite short in length and may have nightmare in the title, so I need to do my research there. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about when Raven-sized coffin, because that is a really weird thing to say if you don't know what that's about,
it makes me chuckle every time.
I mean, look, I'm happy about it, because on the YouTube video of Advent Calendar we have a brand new comment saying yay for the Raven-sized coffin, so we're doing something right. Okay. From VP8107.
I won't knock that.
Whoever you are, thank you. You do.
I know who that is.
Oh, V. Oh, that doesn't count then. That's no one new. Oh, that's bollocks. We'll take it though. We'll take it.
It does count. She wanted to help out and try and bump us up with some comments and likes, and hopefully get us picked up by the algorithm. But
would you like to give just a quick, brief explanation?
Tom is for the audio listeners. Tom is caressing and shaking the Raven-sized coffin.
Shut up! In there. Still moving.
He's wrestling with the Raven-sized coffin. I mean, it is beautiful. You've done a bang-up job making
Very
that
happy
there,
with
mate.
it.
You really
Very
have.
happy with it.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful coffin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Couldn't find any hinges, so.
Bit of a shame.
Right. Yeah, we'll get back to the Raven-sized coffin in the coming weeks. Okay. Any more news to bring to the table? Any more to the agenda?
I've got nothing.
No.
I'm afraid. No.
And I've also been a bit lax on following, let's say, horror news to bring to the audience if people don't follow it themselves. So maybe next week we'll try and catch up on some horror news.
We'll try and step up our game a little bit and try and bring you some news.
So 1941, The Wolfman. Yay or nay?
Generally, I'm gonna go with nay. I think this has been my least favourite one.
I could not agree more. And I think out of the others, Bride may have been our least favourite before this.
Yeah, I'd put
because it's
Bride.
a big lie.
I'd put Bride above this.
Yeah,
but to be honest, just right off the bat, right off the top, my issue with this is similar to one of the issues I had with Bride, in that the Bride is only in it for a fraction of the movie. There's not a lot of Wolfman in this.
There's not a lot of Wolfman, but I tell you what, there is. There's a lot of classic world record for hairiest man in the world, or whatever he's trying to be. You know, classic Guinness World Record for the guy who's got the hairiest body in the world.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah, that's not what I meant by there's not
no,
a
I know.
Wolfman. Like the makeup effects aside, he's just not in Wolf guys for. There's 2 scenes, I think.
In woods, both in the woods.
Yeah,
both in the misty
where
woods.
he is in his wolf form.
Yeah,
and apart from that, it's just there's a lot of weird stuff in this that we'll definitely get into. I mean, you've already mentioned the troubling behaviour of
the cast. Oh, I know.
Of our main character, Larry Talbot, played by Lon Chaney Jr., who is the titular Wolfman. But then the rest of the cast, there's a lot of like enabling and gaslighting, and it's weird. It's weird how people like.
What's also really weird about it,
talk in this film,
the way they talk and act, is that this is early 1940s, right? Mm-hmm. And Dracula was in early 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
The way people act and the way society acts in this film compared to, say, 10 years ago, Dracula, Frankenstein, is so different.
Yeah,
it's so, and 10 years isn't really that long. Time span.
No.
If you watch Dracula, then the society in either films, they are so different to each other.
Yeah,
they are such a contrast. This film as well. The you mentioned Lon Chaney Jr. He's playing Lawrence. The casting choices are way off because his father, played by who you mentioned, Claude Rains.
Claude Rains.
So Lon Chaney Jr. was 35 when he acted in this.
Okay, right.
Claude Rains was 52.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you get the thought as soon as you saw them two on screen together and he went father?
I mean,
big question marks. Did he say father?
Skipping over any of the actual dialogue. It was like a good sort of 3/4 through the film before I realised that he was his son. I had no idea.
I couldn't believe it. I kept questioning myself. Did he say father? It was such a bad casting choice, I thought.
Yeah, he's supposedly, so Lawrence or Larry was supposedly been away for 18 years and come back, like what they were feeding him in those 18 years as well. 'Cause the other thing is, Lon Chaney Jr. is a big dude. He's like 6'2". Yep. I looked it up. He's 6'2" and fairly stocked.
Oh, very stocky. Yeah,
very stocky. Which gave me a little difficulty in believing, because he spends a lot of this film like traumatized, I guess is the right word. And he's scared because he knows. Well, first of all, he kills somebody, and essentially people tell him that it's fine. And we'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on. But he's suffering with the trauma of a wolf attack, and he kills a wolf, and then people are telling him it's actually a person he killed. So he's dealing with that, and then obviously he's cursed, and he goes through the transformation to be to become a werewolf, and then he's dealing with that. And there's towards the end of the film, there's a lot of like he's like visibly distressed and sort of awkward and not comfortable being around people, which doesn't really fit with his size, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. No, I get
now
you.
I'm not, and I'm not saying that big people, big strong men can't show emotion or deal with trauma or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all, because obviously they can. But I think there's a few scenes where he just looks so visibly awkward, and not like that's the way he's playing it, but just because he's such a big, imposing guy. I don't know. It just takes me out of it a little bit.
Thinking specifically later on, maybe when the fair is in town, and the woman because you've always got the person playing the monster or villain, then there's the main female lead, and then her partner or the man that's trying to seduce her and be with her. They're at the fair and they're at the shooting range. One of them that pops up is a wolf, and that's where he starts to. I don't know if that's to do with what's happening with him in his transformation, his psyche, but he's like visibly sweating and he's just starting to break down, and he can't deal with it. But he's definitely much more of a stronger character at the beginning before the wolf incident, and definitely goes downhill.
He does, which is also strange because I mean the whole werewolf story is supposed to be like representative of like that beast within us, and the sort of like unbridled passion and anger and ferocity. So for him to become meeker as he becomes a werewolf also seems to be the opposite of that story is meant to be, and is I think and is portrayed in a lot of other werewolf media. I think generally it goes the other way, doesn't it? I mean, well, not that this is completely different subject, or not subject, but genre. But Teen Wolf springs to mind. And Michael J. Fox goes from dorky, nerdy guy to like the coolest guy in school because he becomes a werewolf, and he stands up to bullies and he gets the girl and all that sort of stuff. And we have the absolute opposite in this, where he starts out being this sort of brash, confident guy and is a wimp by the end of it.
I mean, it's more so because of people gaslighting him, and he's trying to understand what's happening to him. He doesn't quite get it, but then people gaslighting him, and he's just starting to freak out that, am I wrong? Is this happening? Am I going crazy? Is this a dream? Is this happening to me? Because doesn't the scar from his original attack, does it disappear, or is it always there? Because
it disappears. Because the doctor character, Dr. Lloyd, he says something along the lines of, like, the stress could have cured it faster or healed it quicker, or some absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
But then later on, it does appear as a star-shaped
with the wolf inside, right? The pentagram with the wolf.
The pentagram, which is not a pentagram, and really
it's not.
Right, the whole thing. They kept referring to it as a pentagram, and it's just a star.
Yeah. The film itself, right? So, the first note I took, not enough Snow Lake. No, Swan Lake. Sorry, Snow Lake.
No, there was no Swan Lake. And is this the first one where we've had like a montage of the actual actors?
I wrote that down. Yeah. We have a proper opening credits. Yeah.
And we've got visual. We see visual representations of the cast and who they're playing, and it goes through each of the players. Yeah, and that's the first.
It felt very soap opera-esque, where like
sort of the turning around, freeze frames and stuff. Very much like that. That's exactly what I thought.
I didn't realise as well Bela Lugosi was in it.
I did not realise that either. No,
just came out of nowhere.
Reference to the couple of other Universal Monster actors, bit players in this. Yeah, Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Playing Bela. Bela is his character's name, I think. In there.
Yeah, I called him Bela the Gypsy because they like to. They like to reference
They'd like
the gypsies a lot.
do not let it go unmentioned
No.
that he's a gypsy.
They're damn gypsies, they are. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I wanted to bring up about the differences of the film. The rest of the films is still very much play by play, the same as the other films, really.
Yeah. I mean,
the way they laid out
gets into it pretty quickly.
And ends like the others. They just
ends very abruptly.
Yeah,
just finishes with, I mean, literally death of the monster. End. Like,
yeah. The film itself, though, as a whole, like we said at the beginning, yay or nay, both nays. But I think for me, the nay came from a few things being. We've seen pretty good. I actually think we've seen pretty good effects throughout the other films. Whether they be optical illusions, optical effects with like the Invisible Man, or the makeup effects with Dracula and Frankenstein's monster. It was the design choice of the effects I do not like with this.
The Wolfman doesn't look great.
No.
I
the way
agree.
it's
I agree with
implemented is fine. The way his teeth, like all that looks, but yeah, the way they designed him, I did not like. And the other thing that really was a big nay for me with this film was I lost track of who was who. There were so many characters that just became one, in my opinion, in this film.
Yeah, the police constable or whatever was one in particular that I couldn't.
Yeah, because they all end up at this time wearing suits and fedoras. They all look the same. Yeah,
they all absolutely do. I think this has been a criticism of some of the other ones that we've watched as well, though, where it's just a lot of old white men in dinner dress. Like, it's difficult to pick out who's who.
I don't want to say that in the sense of these old films, they're all rubbish, they're boring. You know, they've got the same sort of typecast characters here and there, because they're not. Like, we've enjoyed some of these old films; they're great. Just this one specifically, nothing really hit it for me. No, I can appreciate the old films. I can appreciate these near 100-year films. Yeah, it's impressive for what they managed to accomplish back in the day, but sometimes they don't hit the mark.
You know, like modern films, like films of any period, I guess they had hits and they had flops, and for me, this is a bit more of a flop, whereas some of the others were hits. And it tries to hit some of the same beats. We have a comic relief character. We've got, like you say, the heroine and Mr. Twiddle. He was like the little. It was like a little.
I don't know who that is.
He doesn't. He only appears in a couple of scenes, and he's like the police chief, constable, detective, whatever his title was. It was like his little mate, and everybody called him Mr. Twiddle. Take a cast of that, Mr. Twiddle, and you better get out there, Mr. Twiddle. And absolutely everybody just called him Mr. Twiddle. And he was very sort of bumbling, almost a bit like Stan Laurel, is it?
Laurel and Hardy?
Which one was the fat one?
I'm not sure.
It was a bit like the fat one.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's Stan. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up because somebody's going to correct me.
Well, as I look at the IMDb credits, right, and this is what I was saying to you earlier about, you mentioned about the rest of the cast, and I was like, hang on. So I look at John Talbot by Claude Rains, Lon Chaney is Lawrence, and Bela Lugosi, you know who that is. The female gypsy woman, she was standout character because there was no one else like her in the film, but everyone else sort of blended in. So I look at these characters, Charles Conliffe, Maleva, Frank Andrews. I don't know who these people. I don't remember who these people are.
No, at the end, there were a lot of blokes walking around with like torches and guns. And dogs, and they were all pretty much the same person. It was Oliver Hardy anyway, not Stan. Oliver Hardy's the larger lad. I agree. I know what you mean. I mean, the only real. I mean, obviously, Larry is the main focus. His father's a little bit sort of in the background as well until later on. but there's allusions to them being like a bigger deal. There's mention early on of Sir John Talbot there being something unusual or strange about him, or I can't remember who says it now, which is annoying. But they mention Larry like coming back after 18 years or whatever. Presumably he's been in the States for 18 years because there are strong American accents all over this film.
Oh, gotcha.
Despite it being set in Wales. And yeah, I think it might be, what was the lady's name?
The one he is
the
pursuing.
one he was spying on.
Pursuing, shall we? Yeah. Well,
I think it's her father says something like, "Oh well, it's Sir John Talbot always, he talks about him being a cursed soul, or it's Gwen, isn't it?
Gwen.
I think it's Gwen.
Gwen,
right.
yes.
They talk about him being a cursed soul, and it's like, oh well, after all, he's the son of Sir John, and we all know what went on there, kind of thing. But like nothing's ever made of it. It's just like a throwaway line, and I'm like, well, what was made of it? Seemingly nothing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And they have this enormous estate, which I'll give it credit here. It was actually quite a nice, what I assume was a matte painting. When he pulls up to the castle, it's not a mansion, it's a fucking castle estate. This place.
Yeah.
And it's huge inside. What?
Just thinking about that scene where they're driving. It's like it's the shortest scene in the car. It's like they're in the car and it's like Talbot Castle, Mr. Larry. End. That's it. There's absolutely no need for them to be in a car at any point. They could have just skipped it out completely.
We had to pad it out a bit, so we'll get the driving in at the beginning.
It's literally like 8 seconds of footage, though. Yeah, there was a few things that made me laugh in those early scenes. When the two guys arrive with the box, and I can't remember who says it, Sir John or somebody. What have you got there? And it quite clearly says glass in massive letters on the side of the box.
What could it be?
What have you got there?
But yeah, so you didn't, because it's that part really early on where it's father. Yeah, you didn't clock that.
I may have been doing a bit of googling just about who was in it and things like that. So,
because
I missed it.
If you didn't hear that, there's no way you'd assume it.
No,
he's about double his height. Like you said, he's a huge guy, Lon Chaney Jr. Claude Rains, a lot smaller, but father and son. I mean, even if Claude Rains, as he looked there, he's not 52, he was 62, right? And what did I put? Lon Chaney was 35. What's that, 27? Fine, that makes sense.
Like that.
But age-wise, it makes sense. But looks-wise, I just could not... you would not think father and son.
No.
Looks-wise, whatsoever. I think the casting was really bad there. But yeah, the fact that Claude was 52, Lon Chaney was... so there's a 17-year gap between them two there. Yeah. Well, we need to move on to the next part of the film, which in my eyes is probably the part that is more talk-worthy than the rest of the film.
We're talking about the telescope scene.
Telescope and what becomes of the telescope scene.
The subsequent action. I mean, it did make me laugh because the two delivery men or whatever turn up with this huge box that says glass on the side. And it's like, what have you got there?
Yeah.
And it turns out that it's a part for a telescope that is it Sir John that's building it? I couldn't quite work out.
I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is.
And Larry says like that he's always been good with his hands and he's been able to fix stuff, and that's it. They have a conversation about astronomy, and he says, "Oh, I don't really know anything about that, but I can make stuff." Larry's then left alone, and immediately he's like, "Right, let's see what I can see through the local windows." My note says, "Left unattended, he immediately starts scoping on babes." Because that's pretty much what he does. He's like, oh, there's a car driving down the street. Anyway, oh, there's a lady in a bedroom. Let's go and have a look at that. And, well, the next scene after that, he turns up at a shop.
Yeah, so the shop she runs, he eventually buys a cane, a walking stick, as an excuse to basically carry on talking to her and still interact with her. And the walking stick is kind of, I keep using this term, but it's not really the MacGuffin, but it's the catalyst to kind of what happens for the rest of the film, because it's the kind of, I guess, cursed walking stick that has the wolf's head on. It's not really cursed, but it's the one.
It's not cursed, but it's all very conveniently tied up to what goes on. Yeah.
Why is it there? Why is it there?
I don't know.
Get backstory on it, or?
But the whole thing is that everybody knows that werewolf poem.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. As soon as werewolves get mentioned, everybody starts rattling, which I didn't make a note of exactly what it is. But there's a poem about when the wolf's banes in bloom and this, that, and the other, and it's essentially like a little folk poem about werewolves that absolutely every character knows and immediately recites. But yeah, he turns up at Gwen's family antique shop and starts telling her how lovely her earrings are. That's it. He says he wants some crescent moon shaped earrings, and she's like, "Oh, we don't have anything like that." And he says, "Well, you've got them on your bedside table." And she goes,
"Red flag."
What?
Red flag.
Well, not really enough of a red flag though. What her actual answer is, they're not for sale, and not how the fuck do you know what's on my
completely
bedside table?
Skip the point of what, how. No, just going to the point of, okay, he knows, fine. Mm-hmm. I'll carry on the conversation.
Yeah, but the bit when he is looking through the telescope, like the music is all very romantic. It's like.
Yeah, it's fine. Music. It's romantic. It's a romantic situation.
So my note does say it's not pervert. It's romantic because of the music.
Yes.
The language of cinema is telling us this is a romantic scene, and not the prelude to, a restraining order.
No.
Or
it's fine. It's fine. Okay, it's fine because it's fine because he pretends to be a psychic.
He pretends to be a psychic. But she also doesn't. She entertains this for quite a long time. She doesn't say yes, and I've got another note that says no means I'll see you.
I was about to say that. No means yes. Yeah.
Because he's going. Oh well, I'll take you out for a walk, and she's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like,
but you're here, aren't you?
I'll see you at 8. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna go out with you. I'll see you at 8 then. No, and I can't, I'll see you at 8.
No, her wording is, I'm engaged, due to be wed soon. I really shouldn't be here. Oh, but you are, though, aren't you? You are here, though.
That's later on, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the next thing is, at 8 o'clock, she's waiting on her front doorstep and looking around. And so when he turns up, says to him, like, oh, I didn't know you were coming. It's like, well, you said you weren't either. So what is going on here?
God, it's just horrible. It's just...
He has successfully, creepily stalked you into submission. It's all very odd on both. It's not right on Larry's side, but it's not. They're both as bad as each other, quite frankly, in my opinion.
She was asking for it.
Well, she goes. She turns up.
Yeah, she does.
After saying, no, I'm not doing it. At 8 o'clock, she's dressed for an evening out on her doorstep waiting for him. That's not the behaviour of somebody that doesn't want to go out with somebody else. You don't turn up for the date if you really don't want to go out with them.
It really reminded me of a throwaway bit from Family Guy where they're talking about Sean Connery and he's going, you will kiss me. No, I won't, James. You will. No, you will. Okay. See, no means yes. But he didn't even have to be that persistent.
But he's persistent enough, and it is all a little bit. It's all very distasteful.
Oh, it's very, very icky. But also, because she says I'm engaged, due to be wed soon, and this comes back to the I want to say trope from the last Universal monster films, where our main lead has a side love interest in a way compared to the main character having an interest in her, and we only see him briefly for the end of the second act onwards, I think. Where they're at the fair, or maybe just before the fair. He's not introduced. I don't even know his name. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
Frank?
Maybe it's Frank.
Let's call him Frank. I don't know.
Frank Andrews. He's the gamekeeper. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I'm not sure. It's not really important.
It's not important. It's not important. What's important is how you seduce women, okay? And this is not the way.
This is not the way. But going back to that whole interaction.
Yeah.
Just after that, like, I'll see you at 8, and they leave. Larry is back with somebody, possibly his father, possibly that doctor chap. I can't quite remember who it is. And he mentions meeting Gwen.
Yeah.
And finds out her name. The other person says, "Oh, that's Gwen such and such, the antique shop." And he's so that's her name. Like, you didn't even bother to ask while you were hounding her, spying on her through a bedroom window, and hounding her.
Just some flesh with a pulse that I found attractive, basically. Yeah, got a cane out of it.
He does get a cane out of it. We should, as you mentioned, it's a silver topped.
Yeah,
cane. And it's an excuse to stay in the shop. He's like, "Oh well, I'll buy a walking stick then."
Yeah, he doesn't go there for it. He's just, this. This will do. I'll have this.
And yeah, we get this werewolf poem again, and she explains the wolf's silver wolf head and pentagram.
Yeah. And
the whole werewolf myth, and it's silver, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll have that. He doesn't really care. It's just,
No, he kind of brushes it off, really.
Whatever. He buys it, but then obviously it becomes a big thing. And then when they go out on their non-date,
for the romantic misty woods,
to go to the gypsy camp to have their fortune told.
Remember, folks, they're gypsies.
With that other lady, her friend randomly, who also wants.
Oh God, I forgot about her.
She just turns up.
Jenny, I think, because she's the only other woman credited. So, yes.
So yeah, they go to the camp. Bella, the ghost, is there, and there is a little bit of fortune telling, isn't there? There is a little bit of like, your left hand is the past and your right hand is the future, and let's have a look at.
Yeah, I like that actually. I don't, personal opinion, I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in fortune telling, tarot cards, any of it. Okay, I just don't. And I don't know if that's a real. If that's a thing that fortune tellers use, theory technique that fortune tellers use in nowadays, modern times. It's been a practice. That's what I want. That's a real practice that fortune tellers use. But I like that. I actually quite like that they gave an explanation as to what hand does what.
Yeah,
it's just a little thing I quite liked.
And he sees a star, doesn't he?
Yes.
It's already been mentioned that you will see a pentagram.
Get it right.
The werewolf or a werewolf will see this pentagram symbol on the palm of his next victim, essentially. So she leaves. She does leave, doesn't she? And then he wolfs out and follows her.
He wolfs out?
Bella.
Whatever
his name is.
Bella?
Yeah.
What do you mean he wolfs out?
He turns into a wolf.
Is he the wolf? I did watch this film. I did.
Yes. So he's the OG wolf.
Whoops. Okay.
So Jenny is off in the woods, and she's like, "Oh, can I pet that dog?" And
dog.
She gets savaged by the wolf.
Yeah, she does.
Larry
yes, I remember that.
Hears the screaming and goes running, and beats Wolf to death.
Yeah, the wolf. I mean, the problem is that the wolf that he fights with
is a
wolf.
Dog. Well,
a wolf or a dog.
It's a dog. Yeah.
Rather than they could have had. Okay, now I'm aware it's Bella. I thought it was. Well, let's not get into what I thought. They could have had someone dressed like our eventual Wolfman, attacking Lon Chaney. So we get, okay, this is what happens to him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't turn into a dog in the end. He turns into the Guinness World Records world's hairiest man.
He turns into a wolf man, whereas Bela's version is meant to be an actual wolf. For actual real animal, 4 legs, tail, wet nose.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Key point there. Don't know why.
Furry, pointy ears, dog, wolf.
And the wet nose. Don't forget the wet nose.
And the wet nose. That's how you can tell they're healthy. So, and in this fight, Larry receives a wound, and he's sort of taken off to receive treatment. Meanwhile, the police come in to investigate what's happened. They find Jenny with her throat ripped out, and the body adjacent is the Bela the Gypsy.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. Yes,
it's Bela the Gypsy with his head caved in, and then they find. It's actually my favourite line in the film is, "Wolf, Gypsy woman, murder. What is this?"
One of my favourite lines, I think it was later on, was one of the guys, "I'm a bit squeamish." I think it was from one of the policemen. All this happens behind a tree.
Yeah, I was going to mention that later on because our other sort of violent scene is also behind the tree. As cover up. Obscured. Yeah. So the police come along and find he was beaten to death with a blunt object. Oh look, here's a blunt object, and they find the walking stick, and then they go, anyway, let's see these tracks, and walk off, and they don't care that they've literally just found the murder weapon. They're like, oh, but there's some footprints somewhere.
The police in these films always come across a bit goofy, a little bit unserious.
I mean, as I say, Mr. Twiddle is in there. But I mean, this is when most of the gaslighting and stuff starts, because because we've had a woman killed, and as far as Larry's concerned, he's at home recuperating. He's been injured. As far as he's concerned, a woman was killed, and he killed the wolf that killed the woman. Yeah. To everybody else's eyes, Larry's been injured. There is a woman dead. There is also a man dead. The only wolf is mentioned by Larry. So this is when this sort of like weird sort of cycle of gaslighting starts. So the police come to basically find out what's happened. Larry says, well, there was a wolf attacking the young lady. I killed it, and it bit me. Yeah. And they all say, but Larry, it wasn't a wolf. It was a man you killed. You killed a man, Larry, a man. And he's like, but no. It was definitely a wolf. Like, no. It was definitely a man. And that's his friends, his family, the police, everybody saying to him, no. Forget about this wolf nonsense. You killed a man, Larry, a man. And they're all very insistent on making him face what they believe to be the truth. And what you mentioned murdered a person
earlier is that all these people know this wolf poem, and this wolf mythology is kind of there, though. So why?
It's big. It's the biggest thing in town.
Wouldn't they believe him?
You'd think so, but he's the prime. So essentially, he's the prime murder suspect. Yeah, for Bela the Gypsy and presumably this Jenny as well. But all it takes is Sir John and the doctor to just go, no, just leave him alone. He just needs some rest. Just some rest. And the cops are like, all right, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it's like, don't arrest our mate. He's had a rough night. He killed 2 people. Yeah, it's been hard on him. Like, let him have his rest. And the police just go, yeah, that's fine. He needs a bottle of Lucozade and some cold pizza, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's had a bad night. Yeah, so Larry's the main suspect in a murder case. And the next thing he decides to do is go and visit the body. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember now. So to not arouse further suspicion, I will now go and interfere with the corpse. It's fine. which is where he has his first sort of run in with the old gypsy lady fortune teller. I think she was named Maleva.
Well, I don't know, because at IMDb she's just named Gypsy Woman.
Oh,
is she? And maybe a different Gypsy Woman. Maybe. And okay, it is. Sorry, it is Maleva or Maleva. But
yeah, played by Maria Ouspenskaya.
Yeah.
Ouspenskaya.
Because on IMDb there's another Gypsy woman uncredited, played by a woman called Jessie Arnold. So maybe she was a background.
Well, I wonder if that's the one dancing. There's that in the festival, the party scene, isn't there? There's quite an extended shot of her dancing on stage. So I wonder if that's her.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I can't really remember what this interaction in the cemetery, in the crypt or whatever is. I just know he met that lady, and she probably recites that werewolf poem to him again.
My brain is very foggy with this film. I've got to be honest, and that I know. I apologize, folks. That doesn't bode well for a horror podcast where we're meant to be talking about film. But the way this film is structured, I was kind of. I think this film produced ADHD in my brain because I was really trying to not dip in and out, but I struggled.
Yeah,
I did struggle with this film.
Yeah, it didn't really grab you, and I think this central portion as well is like you're waiting for him to turn into a wolf now.
Yeah, and that's what you want.
They drag it out a little bit. So, but yeah, it goes back on that other point that like everyone's fine that he beat a man to death. The issue that they're having is that he's still insisting that it was a wolf. And there is this, everybody is like, no, Larry, you killed a man. And we go to, so he's basically just sort of coming to terms with this. I think the lady asked, is that when the gypsy lady asked to see the wound at this point, or is that later on?
Later on, I believe, because that's when she gives him this charm.
That's it.
Which doesn't. I don't know if that gets played up anymore. The rest of the film, this charm.
He gives it to Gwen to protect her.
Yeah.
But it never actually fulfills any. No. It never actually does anything. There's no. It never actually fulfills any real role other than being there.
I didn't even really clock this. Apparently, Maleva was Bella's mother.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to read this word for word. Bella's big. I don't like to normally. I always say this. I don't like to normally use Wikipedia to fall on, but I kind of need it right now. I kind of need it. Bella's mother, Maleva, reveals to Larry that the wolf witch, not witch as in cackling witch, that the wolf which bit him was Bella in the form of wolf, and Larry is now a werewolf too because he was bitten. Okay, so it's transferred. Silver is the only thing that can kill a werewolf. Maleva gives him the charm to prevent the transformation, which clearly must be made of silver. Uncertain whether to believe her, he instead gives the charm to Gwen for protection. Just like you said. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
At this point, it cuts to Gwen and her fiance, and they're having. And I think this is where the line about Sir John being weird or something comes up. But the general sort of outcome of this scene is fiance says to Gwen, like, "Stay away from Larry. He's clearly dangerous or a psychopath. Yeah. You stay away from him." Then we go to the festival scene, and he immediately says, "Oh, look, there's Larry. Let's go and say hello to Larry."
Yeah.
It's literally within about 30 seconds of him like warning her to stay away from him that he's like, "Let's go over and talk to him." But it's because there's a rifle shooting range there, and he can do a little bit of dick swinging. It's a bit of rifle swinging in it. Like, I'm the boyfriend here. I'm gonna show you up.
That's what I say. He comes across very cocky.
Yeah.
Like Gwen's probably like, no, let's leave him. No, let's go see him. No, come on, let's go. Let me go show you how much more of a man I am than him.
But which is exactly what he's doing and exactly how it sort of plays out. But the actual reality of it is, Larry picks up the rifle. They have the gun, the shooting range, rifle range, whatever it is, and it's like, oh, how about it, old chap? Like, what can you do? Larry nails like 3 shots.
Yeah.
And then has a bit of a turn when the wolf target pops up. At which point, the fiance, are we calling him Edward? Whatever I don't know what his actual name was.
Frank.
What? Frank. It was Frank. So at which point Frank shoots this one wolf target, and he's all like, "That's how it's done, old son." And it's like, well, you only shot 1 target. Like, he did nail 3 before he missed.
Yeah.
And then Larry sort of takes his leave at that point and legs it. And I think that's when he has the second meeting with the lady, and she gives him the charm.
Yeah, because before this, he's already turned into a werewolf, a wolfman.
Have we had his first?
Yeah, we haven't talked about it because that's why.
Oh,
that's why he's not sweating and feeling uncomfortable by needing to shoot the wolf target from just his attack. No, he's already.
I thought it'd come later. I thought his first change came later than that, but.
So,
maybe you're right.
After he... I
mean, his first change, we get the transformation scene.
In his chair.
I did have a note about it, because I was laughing at his little hippie toes. No, it's after this. It's after the rifle situation.
Is it after? I thought it was before.
Yeah, it's just after. Because we have that bit, and he talks to the lady, and he gets the charm, and then they have this bit where somebody overhears the conversation and runs off, and it's like Larry is a werewolf, pass it on, and they're whispering to everybody, and they're running off, and there's like this little scene of word getting round the camp that, like, which ultimately again comes to nothing, but they go running around whispering, and it's just after that he has his change, because he's sat in the chair, and he rolls up his trouser legs, and his hairy legs get even hairier.
Yeah, they do indeed.
His hairy face gets even hairier. And then it made me laugh because he's walking around on his little tippy toes.
Yeah, you can see that it's on his tippy toes.
Tap, 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 tap. And later on, when they find the tracks, it's like just a big, like, dog paw print. But even though he's got a full-size foot, like, he's literally just... Like, all the pads are on sort of that bit, and none of this, so he's just on the tippy toes.
It's not quite Rick Baker, is it? American Werewolf transformation.
Not quite. But also not as good as the Imhotep death scene in The Mummy, when he goes and transforms into the skeleton.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Like, as far as that sort of transition effect, it's a poorer version of what we've seen before in other films, I think. It's just not as good. And it took me, I think, in every instance of it, later on when he changes back from the Wolfman into Larry, when he's caught in the trap, and again at the end, it's subtle, but it's so subtle it looks like nothing's happening. Like, it takes a really long time of you staring at it going, is he changing?
The transitions between him. The let's say the fade. The fade is really slow.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, maybe would look better maybe it's because it's black and white and it's grainy footage and stuff. Maybe it's that.
Well, you said you were going to watch this in colour, right?
I didn't in the end. I did say that I didn't in the end. I think I told you I watched the black and white.
Yeah, you did. I had no idea it was colorized.
The Internet Archive, when I searched for it, the version it threw up first was the colorized version of the movie.
Look,
I haven't looked at it at all. I mean, it's the same film. It's obviously just colors added.
I'll give a quick glimpse now.
However they do it. So yeah, I was going to watch the colorized version just out of interest, I suppose, more than anything else. It's the same. It's the same thing.
I wonder if the colorized version would make the transitioning of him...
Maybe it would look a little bit clearer.
Oh, clear, or even maybe worse. I don't know, because colour may bring more detail to
maybe
the fade in. I mean,
want to check.
Very.
Yeah,
curious.
I think ultimately I didn't watch it because I thought, well, none of the other ones we've watched have been the colorized versions, so I kind of wanted to keep as the intended, as intended the original.
Yeah.
The original version.
I like who you say as intended, where we could have watched them on Blu-ray.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Which is like an upscaled version.
We could have travelled back to the 1940s and gone to the cinema.
Go to the pictures. I'll watch a talkie. Oh, I've just found his hairy feet in colour.
And his little tippy toes.
The little tippy toes, yeah. Tip, 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 tip. Yeah.
So this is when we get his Larry's first murder, the graveyard, the grave digger. Again, digging graves at night. Is it always done at night? I'm not sure about that. It's a bit of a cinema trope.
It is.
The lonely grave digger working at night.
It's the grave digger in Friday the 13th, part 4 or 6. So it's
6 opens in the graveyard.
It opens in the graveyard.
They dig Jason up in Tommy and his mate. Yeah.
There's one of them where there's a shot where it's a meta moment. It might even be part 3 where I think he's a graveyard keeper digger, looks to the camera and says a line. But yeah, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head a grave digger or graveyard worker during the day doing his job.
Yeah.
Really...
I mean, what was the Fulci one? There was tools lying
City of the
about.
Living Dead.
City of the Living Dead was definitely daytime. The tools were out.
Well, they were burying her. They were lowering her, and then the 2 guys that were going to do it just clocked off.
Yeah.
They just
come back
off.
at night, presumably.
Yeah.
Maybe they dig the hole during the day, and then they come back at night to fill it in. Maybe that's how it works.
And then fix the coffin lid that our reporter had cracked open.
Honestly, best scene in
so good.
Check it out.
So good. But we digress. Back to the graveyard in the Wolfman. Yes. So I am really needing this description of the rest of the film to help me through this. Okay, so like Minerva, Larry transforms into a humanoid wolf hybrid on the following night and kills the villager. Oh, it's saying kills a villager. It's just saying villager.
I think it's only the graveyard, the grave digger. I think that's the only person he kills.
Oh yeah, it's probably just describing this person as a villager. But it's probably the graveyard digger. He returns to normal the next morning with no memory of his rampage. Authorities believe the killing to be a work of a wolf. So now they believe it's the killing.
Now they believe it's a wolf. Yeah, because not a werewolf necessarily.
Yeah.
But they believe it's a wolf. But the fact that the man was bludgeoned to death is just forgotten about at this point.
Yeah, completely.
Excuse me. Yeah, so I made a note on that he's a wolf. He's a wolf man rather than a wolf. And then after the fact, that's when he gets the scar, the emo, his little emo star tattoo. It's very early 2000s scene kid star tattoo on his shoulder.
He's gonna have a big raw chain.
So now he has a tattoo. Which is weird because it's like, and then I think later on that's referred to as like the wound that the wolf originally gave him. I don't know, nonsense. So yeah, now the plot moves to like we need to hunt this wolf that's prowling the estate and doing people in. So they set some traps.
I can just say that, like I said, the fact that authorities believe the killing to be work of a wolf, okay, not a wolf man.
Yeah,
they have this poem. The mythology is kind of there in this universe, in this town, this world. Okay, so they believe it's a wolf, but not a wolf man. But they didn't believe the original attack had a wolf anywhere near it. Yet Larry was saying about his scar was that wasn't done by a cane or a blunt object. That was done by a wolf's claw or a paw.
Well, and Jenny had a throat ripped out as well. Yeah,
and that wasn't blunt force. So they weren't buying it then, but they're buying it now.
Yeah. I don't know. Sir John's maybe paid him off.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something.
You can come use my telescope to prowl on the innocent women of the town, and we'll let this go.
Yeah. So they set some traps for this wolf, and Larry gets caught in one. And during his next foray out in his transformed state. And he's caught, and he's flailing about, and he's caught in this trap. And it cuts to a group of like hunters with dogs and torches, like hearing the noise. Like it's played out like they're hearing this noise and are rushing to check the trap, and then they just lose the trail. The dogs just lose. They don't find him. And it's Malaya again that turns up, and she says a little prayer for him, and he changes back, and then just gets out of the trap, and he's fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
Presumably. Larry goes to see Gwen and realizes that, and she's all up for running away with him. She's like, "Oh, let's."
I mean, she's been up from it from the get-go in a way.
He tells her that he's leaving, and she's like, "Oh, I'll come with you." And he's like, "No," and then he sees that she's marked as his next victim.
Aren't you due to be wed?
And the fiance is like out of the picture now.
What is wrong with this woman?
Fickle. I don't know.
Very, very fickle.
So yeah, she was all up for running away from him after literally only going out for a walk with him once as well.
Well, it's quite an exciting walk.
I mean,
to be fair.
He killed somebody.
and her, well, I will assume best friend or close friend.
Her best friend got murdered. Her best friend got her throat ripped out, and her date battered a man to death.
Her character is really not fleshed out or developed at all in this film. No. She's kind of a yes woman. A yes person. Sorry, I mean she's a woman, but a yes person. It's kind of from this point onwards that he's really convinced that he's fucked. He's a Wolfman. And then Claude, his father ends up tying him to the chair, like fully, like legs restrained, arms restrained.
Well, he tells his dad that he's a werewolf. Doesn't he? And his dad thinks obviously he's going through some sort of psychosis.
Well, again, gaslighting.
Sir John, I've got a note that says Sir John berates an old lady, and I can't really remember what that refers to.
I believe that happens. I believe it.
I'm guessing it's Malaya.
Probably.
And he's basically says, "Get out of here with your hocus pocus nonsense," or whatever. He does. He ties him to a chair. And basically says, "You're going to look out of the window and watch us hunt this wolf, and that'll cure you. That's going to cure your psychosis.
Look at the pretty moon, son. Watch that." No! Because it happens to be a full... When the moon rises, Larry transforms again. And the restraints do nothing.
Yeah, well, we don't even see that, do we? No. The next shot of Larry we get is him out and about in the woods.
He's out.
And he attacks Gwen. He comes across Gwen and he attacks her. And Sir John is there to save the day behind the old beating tree.
What is the same tree?
It is probably the
Still
same
got to
tree.
use that tree. Does he do it with the wolf cane?
Yeah, he does it with the wolf cane.
He does. How does he acquire the wolf cane?
Larry insists that he takes it with him for protection.
Yeah.
I think
it worked so well for him in the past.
I mean, yeah, and it does. He Gwen attack, and Dad is there to beat him down. Always behind a tree. These beatings.
The beating tree. Yeah,
behind the beating tree, and then it says, and then my notes here sum up the end of the film. Soz Sir John. End.
Yes. Oh, we're done. We're out of here.
That's pretty much how it happens.
Son's dead. Doesn't matter. We're out.
Somebody literally just says sorry, Sir John.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the end. So as we've seen with other Universal monster movies, there is no like tying up of loose ends. There's no like even the briefest of sort of aftermath. Everything's back to normal scenes. It's literally right. Monster's dead. Pack up. We're going home.
Yep. There's no sad, let's say, burial of Lawrence. Yeah. There's no sad getting over it and moving on.
Nope, nothing at all.
Destroying the wolf cane or something like. No, we're done.
Well, you don't want to destroy the Wolf King because that's your
Well,
that's
yeah.
your protection.
But against what now though? That's the thing. There should be no more Wolfmen / werewolves.
He didn't actually wound Gwen, did he? So, no. There's nobody to pass the curse on to.
The thing with
there are sequels to this, aren't there?
Yes, he comes back 2 years later.
Is that when he met Frankenstein?
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
After now watching both these films and The Bride of Frankenstein, which is canonically, the sequel to Frankenstein, I'm so curious to know the plot and how this film even works.
Yeah. I think they could just do it again. I think these sequels don't really tie in to the original. It's just like there'll be another Wolfman. You know what I mean? Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
The fact it's still Lon Chaney Jr. still. I mean, it could be.
Maybe. I mean, fun fact: Lon Chaney Jr. is the only man to have played all 4 of the classic Universal monsters.
Oh, really? Now
he played Dracula, the Wolfman, obviously, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and the Mummy.
Oh, that's really interesting. I had no idea.
So he was the Mummy in the Mummy's Tomb. I believe Son of Dracula was Lon Chaney. Or House of Dracula. They were all these sort of sequels and stuff. But yeah, he played all 4 of the main, I guess the main 4 of the classic Universal monsters. Lon Chaney's your man. He played them all.
Oh wow! So I'm just looking up on Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Bela Lugosi played the monster instead of Boris Karloff.
Oh, okay. So they were all chopping and changing.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Is Claude Rains in this?
So there is a Dracula versus Frankenstein in 1971, but I think this is...
That feels a bit too far on to be in this same sort of...
Lon Chaney Jr. is in it as a character called Groton, but I think it's past the heyday of the main players of the other ones.
In this, Maleva's in this as well by the same actress.
Oh, okay. So there is some tie-in then.
Baroness Frankenstein, not the Baron, but Baroness is in. We haven't got the Baron. The best character in all the Universal monster films.
Is the Baroness as good as the Baron, though?
Yeah.
Like, I might have to watch it if I can get some...
I'm curious.
Get some... Is it Ilona?
Elsa. Baroness Elsa.
No. The actress's name.
Oh, Iona or Ilona, yeah.
Ilona, it's difficult to tell.
So, Frankenstein meets the meets the Wolfman. The resurrected Wolfman seeking a cure for his malady? Malady. Yep. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Illness.
Okay. Enlists the aid of a mad scientist who... Okay, already this makes sense. He wants to cure
how he gets resurrected is
Maleva?
going to be the... Probably, possibly.
Gypsy, there we go.
Magic.
Who claims he will not only rid the Wolfman of his nocturnal metamorphosis, but also revive the frozen body of Frankenstein's inhumane creation. So he's getting a twofer here. Wow. That's interesting.
So so that is so that's that. Another thing about this film is this is possibly the origin. I say possibly because it's a little bit. There's nothing really concrete, but possibly the origin for silver bullets killing werewolves.
In
the general lore of werewolf
really?
mythology. Yeah, werewolf mythology. Yeah. So there is a folk tale from the 1700s, a French folk tale called The Beast of Gévaudan.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Which is about a wolf hunt. And silver is used to kill it, I think. A silver bullet is used to kill it, but it's not specified that it's a werewolf. It's just a wolf. It's a big wolf. And And then historically, there's various stories of monsters and stuff where silver's used to kill them because of its associations with purity and things like that. But the sort of connection of silver bullet and werewolf, this may come from this film. There doesn't seem to be a lot. I say take it with a pinch of salt because there's conflicting arguments, and I haven't done in-depth research into this, but there are a few sort of schools of thought that suggest, or a few people that sort of come across and say that this might actually be the genesis of the silver bullet kills werewolf thing.
That feels wild to me that it's here. If so,
well,
if that's the truth. That feels mad that this is the point where that was introduced, because that is such a popular folklore.
It is the
ideology,
it is the thing. So, like I say, silver's a purity thing, and is used to kill monsters in like more historic folklore tales. But yeah, it's the applications to the werewolf specifically. This is arguably, or argued as being the genesis of that.
Wow.
But didn't we have something similar with one of the other ones?
With silver?
It was.
Was it Dracula?
No, I'm thinking of Igor, Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's assistant, the Igor character.
Who's not actually called Igor.
He's not. He's not called Igor in Frankenstein.
Is it Fritz?
Fritz. It is Fritz.
Yeah.
That came in later, but has been sort of like transposed. It's similar in that. Well, it's gone backwards. That people think it's from the original tale, and it's not. Yeah. It's a later thing. Whereas this is, a later, potentially from a later tale that people think is a lot older than it actually is. So
well, that's really interesting. I had no idea.
So a couple of little fun, I'll say facts in inverted commas, because like I say, arguably the verdict's out on the silver bullet one. But yeah, I was interested that Lon Chaney is Lon Chaney Jr. specifically was played all four of the monsters. He is actually credited at the end of this movie as Lon Chaney, and not Lon Chaney Jr. Which
really?
is I mean, not a big deal, I guess, but given that his father was a horror movie actor, you'd think that you'd want to make the distinction there, because it's a totally different person. Lon Chaney Sr., as I mentioned at the top of the show, was probably most famously the Phantom of the Opera. Yeah.
In which we'll check out for the next Monsters Universal.
Yeah.
We'll check out his portrayal.
He played the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he was known as the Man of 1,000 Faces. I think he was a leading figure in early special effects as well.
I think with the character of the Wolfman itself, are we given any details or description as to why, when he transforms into said Wolfman, all his inhibitions are just to kill, just to attack, just to be aggressive? I guess it's the state of a wolf in general, maybe, but it's a bit more predatorial than a wolf itself.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything specifically mentioned in the dialogue in the film itself. But it's one of these that, the werewolf myth, as it persists in sort of real world folklore and legend and stuff, is that it's tied in with this. Controlling this beast within us, and this rage within us, and man's sort of more baser instincts for sex and violence, I guess. Probably more the violence side. I think vampires are usually the lustful side, and the sensuous and sexuality bit. And this is more sort of violence and murder. But there's nothing mentioned in the film specifically. I think it's just as basic as he becomes a monster, so he kills, a person. I mean, he spends most of his time just sort of peeping out from behind trees.
Yeah, he does.
With his face half in shadow, it's almost like they didn't like the look of the monster themselves. I'm like, let's
They do
hide
put
it.
the spotlight on him now at some points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I said at the beginning I didn't have much to really take on this film. I was kind of in and out while still at the same time watching it and paying attention.
I was watching it, but
just
I think I went down a few rabbit holes, like Googling Lon Chaney's height.
Yeah.
Trying to sort of expand on notes and things like that. How do you feel about werewolf movies generally?
Hit and miss.
Like,
I mean, some of the hits have been, I would say, American Werewolf in London, Dog Soldiers, Silver Bullet, The Howling. I'm a fan.
Never been
Ginger Snaps. I like Ginger Snaps.
Ginger Snaps is alright. It's never been my like go-to though. I think I'd probably pick a vampire movie over a werewolf movie.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
The aspect of a werewolf in general doesn't do it for me in a horror sense.
No,
it's a big dog, but like it's never really. So it's going down. The big dog. No, we can't talk about him. We
can't talk about him. No.
Naughty, horrible man. Anyway, werewolf films. I don't go searching out for a werewolf horror film.
Yeah, I think that's I'm the same.
But there are some good
there
ones.
There are some good ones, definitely.
Yeah.
Like any genre, subgenre, there are some good ones and some bad ones. But yeah, it's like I say, it's not one that I'd generally seek out. Isn't a werewolf movie?
No, I don't think it's a top subgenre of horror. No. I would say, The Howling. I feel like The Howling gets very doesn't get as much play as American Werewolf in London, and I believe it has a better, not better, but on par transformation. If you've ever seen it, check out The Howling. I
have seen it. I watched it not that long ago. Might be about 6 months or more though now, if I actually think about it. But it was randomly on TV one night. There's a couple of sequels to that as well, isn't there? Is it 3?
Yeah, there are. Yeah. Silver Bullet with Gary Busey, obviously. It was a good one. Anything with Gary Busey, crazy Gary Busey, check out as a win.
I know there's more Howling movies. There's 5 Howling movies.
Oh, I thought there was only 4. 6!
No, wow, they keep popping up. Hang on a minute.
4.
So we've got
5 Howling. 6.
We've got Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Howling Shut up, 3. Is that the subtitle? Shut up.
That is the subtitle. Howling 4, The Original Nightmare. Howling 5, The Rebirth. Howling 6, Freaks. There may even be another one there. What's that one? There's... Oh, my God, there are 8. The Howling New Moon Rising and The Howling Reborn, 2011.
So, folks, at the beginning of this podcast, we were talking about we're looking to upgrade, do more things for the show in the coming months, our new series. Well, I hope you guys can look forward to our new monthly Howling series, where we'll be, because it looks like we can get a year's worth of Howling.
Well, genuinely, we did talk about doing a full franchise of.
We did.
Lesser known or lesser quality movies. Yeah, I had absolutely no idea there were so many Howlings, but there you go.
I'm howling at how many Howlings there are. See, only a quirky, kooky podcast host would say that.
Howls about that then.
Oh!
Oh my God.
Oh, that dog, man.
Shall we
on that note, shall we get the hell out of here, because I don't think we can beat any of these. So that is the Wolfman, folks. That is the 6th installment in our Universal Monsters series. We seem to do this at the end of all of them. I think I'm gonna put this at the bottom.
This is
Bride.
Bride. I'm the same.
Middle ground would have been
I think
probably
Mummy.
Oh, probably Mummy,
Invisible Man. Invisible Man. I don't know. I feel like I like the Invisible Man more. Maybe Dracula, Invisible Man, Frankenstein. Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. That's as a top 3. I think that's fair. Yeah. Frankenstein's number 1 for me, but maybe Dracula's number 2 for me. Invisible Man #3. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter.
Maybe.
But
I
think that's where this film goes.
Yeah, but I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know, Dracula for maybe the legacy of the character, but I think I enjoyed the film of The Invisible Man more. Claude Rains was very, very fun watching that.
Yeah, and that film goes right from the beginning as well.
It does.
Do go check these films out, folks. Like we said, you can. I think for the most part, you can find them on Internet Archive, which is archive.org. Do go check them out because they're a piece of cinema history. They're some, for the most part, interesting watches. They're short, so yeah, go check them out. And then check out our reviews on them if you haven't yet. So next time on our Monsters Universal series, which will be in the end of February, will be, if we can get around to it, both versions of the Phantom of the Opera, the early versions of Phantom of the Opera. But if not, it will be the next in line
in the box set.
In the box set,
40 something. Is it 41? Was that 41?
This is 41.
42, 43. It's
43.
43.
43. Yeah.
1943 with Claude Rains.
Yeah, Claude Rains. Anyone else that we would? It doesn't look like anyone else from some of the other films. No.
We'll see about that one again because I can't get excited about the Phantom of the Opera story. I've got to say.
Me either. It's a little taster before we get to the finale, which is Creature of the Black Lagoon. So yeah, well, get it out the way. Anyways, speaking of getting out of the way, we need to get out of this way, get out of here, whatever it means. Once again, thank you all for listening. You can check this out on YouTube, all past content by searching the Dreadcast, and on Spotify, Apple, Google, Podbean, Amazon. Yeah, that was all of them. All by searching the _Dreadcast. Please give us a good rating or review. Leave a review if you can on all of them. And you can find this podcast on all the social medias by searching the _Dreadcast on Twitter /X, Instagram, and TikTok. I was having a stroke mid-sentence there. And
it's good. You got it all out.
You got it all out of the of the mouth, the word salad. And you can send mail to
dreadcastpodcast@gmail.com.
That's the one. As far as next time, we don't even know what we're doing next time. We don't even know what. Check out the social medias and you'll find out what's coming next time. Basically,
keep your eyes on those social medias. Thanks very much for listening, guys. I have been Aidan. This has been Tom. We have been your friends till the end, and this is the Dreadcast.